Hello everyone, and welcome to another true crime video. Today, we're going to explore the shocking story of Willem van Boxtel, a Dutch man who started out as a motorcycle enthusiast in Amsterdam. In this video, we'll reveal Willem's rise from a young, passionate biker to a feared figure in international crime, his dealings with corrupt officials, and the violent events that ultimately led to his downfall. This is the story of Willem van Boxtel and the infamous Angel Place. Willem van Boxtel was born on August 18, 1955, into a working-class family in the eastern part of Amsterdam. As he grew up, Willem loved motorcycles, speed, and gang violence. He enjoyed watching American biker movies and hearing stories about the Hells Angels. In 1973, when he was 17, he started his own biker gang called the Kreidler Ploeg East. A year later, on his 18th birthday in 1974, he celebrated the occasion by brutally assaulting the manager of a late-night convenience store. When the manager called the police, Boxtel attacked him again, resulting in his arrest for assault. In September 1974, Boxtel and his gang went on a violent rampage. They raided a high school, where they attacked 2 teachers and several students. When one teacher's husband came to help her, Boxtel and his gang also beat him and threw him down the stairs. Despite his violent behavior, Amsterdam awarded Boxtel 172,500 guilders, equivalent to $103,386 US dollars in 2006, to construct a clubhouse for his gang, on the condition that he refrained from further violence. The city also agreed to provide Boxtel with 21,300 guilders annually, equivalent to $12,772 US dollars in 2006, to organize charity events and motorcycle riding lessons for young people. Boxtel's actions had caught the eye of Barger, who in 1977 designated Boxtel as a prospect for the Hells Angels and eventually authorized him to use the Hells Angels name and their death's head logo. Boxtel decided to name his clubhouse Angel Place. The city of Amsterdam continued providing annual grants to the Dutch Hells Angels until the 1980s. It was during this time that authorities discovered Boxtel's misuse of these funds. Instead of directing the money towards charitable activities as agreed, he diverted it to renovate and improve the Angel Place clubhouse. Boxtel was considered a rising star within the Hells Angels, attracting frequent visits from members of the motorcycle club from the United States, Germany, Britain, Austria, and Australia. His influence and status within the international Hells Angels community made Amsterdam a notable destination for fellow members seeking his leadership and guidance. Boxtel strategically led the Dutch Hells Angels to assume control over the ports of Amsterdam and Rotterdam. Under his direction, these ports emerged as critical hubs for drug smuggling activities, playing a central role in the illicit trade networks operating across Europe. In May 1978, Boxtel gained a lot of attention when a 19-year-old girl was gang raped at Angel Place. A group of outlaw bikers from Denmark visited Amsterdam to ask about joining the Hells Angels, and the girl was offered as a sexual gift to them. When she refused to have sex with them, she was gang raped. This incident sparked calls to close down Angel Place. Boxtel told the Dutch media, "We follow our own rules, and one of them is that besides our girlfriends, girls are only allowed in Angel Place for sex." Boxtel's statement, which was widely interpreted as approving of the gang rape, led to strong demands from feminist groups for the city to close Angel Place. Under significant public pressure and facing a potential shutdown, Boxtel changed his approach. He adopted the Toys for Tots strategy, often used by the American Hells Angels, which involved making generous donations to children's charities and providing free toys to needy children. This was a calculated move aimed at rehabilitating the image of his chapter and countering the negative publicity generated by the incident. On October 28, 1978, 2 American Hells Angels from the Oakland chapter arrived in Amsterdam to officially recognize Boxtel's achievements and status within the club. They presented him with his full patch, a symbol of his complete membership and full-fledged status within the Hells Angels organization. Along with this significant honor, they declared Boxtel the president of a full-patch Hells Angel chapter in Amsterdam. This acknowledgement not only solidified his leadership position, but also improved the status of the Amsterdam chapter within the international Hells Angels community. Boxtel soon expanded the Dutch Hells Angels significantly. In 1980, he opened a new chapter in Haarlem, extending the club's influence beyond Amsterdam. 6 years later, in 1986, he established another chapter in Limburg, further solidifying their presence across the Netherlands. By 1990, Boxtel's expansion efforts continued with the opening of yet another chapter in the northern part of Amsterdam. Boxtel was also active abroad, helping to open new Hells Angels chapters in several countries. He played a key role in establishing chapters in Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland, expanding the Hells Angels' influence across Scandinavia. His close relationship with Bent Svein Nielsen, who founded the Hells Angels Copenhagen chapter in 1980, strengthened his power in the region. In the Netherlands, Boxtel led the Hells Angels' takeover of many businesses. Under his leadership, the gang took control of numerous brothels, restaurants, cafes, and nightclubs. These businesses provided profitable revenue and acted as fronts for illegal activities, further increasing the Hells Angels' power and reach in the country. Canadian journalists Julian Scher and William Marsden wrote that Boxtel created one of the most powerful underworld organizations in Europe. Law enforcement in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark agreed, saying Boxtel's Amsterdam chapter had ultimate authority over all Hells Angels chapters in Scandinavia. A Hells Angels member turned informer also claimed that Boxtel was in charge of all Hells Angels operations in Europe. Under Boxtel's leadership, the Amsterdam chapter became a key hub for drug smuggling. The chapter brought cocaine from Colombia and cannabis from Morocco into Europe, while heroin from Turkey and Afghanistan was sent to the British Isles and the Americas. Boxtel created a monopoly on organized crime in the Netherlands, successfully preventing rival biker gangs like the Outlaws and the Bandidos from setting up chapters in the country. His dominance meant no other biker gangs could challenge the Hells Angels, which eliminated potential conflicts. As a result, during Boxtel's time as president of the Amsterdam chapter, the Netherlands had a period of peace with no biker wars. His strong control over the criminal world was so significant that an Interpol report in 1989 described Boxtel as one of Europe's most powerful gangsters. Boxtel became a prominent figure in Amsterdam's social scene and participated in important events like the retirement party of Amsterdam Alderman Edgar Peer, who chaired the city's finance committee. This highlighted Boxtel's influential role in the city, blending his criminal activities with local social and political circles. His control over the port of Amsterdam, Europe's largest, was pivotal in Boxtel's ascent to power. It positioned him as a major player in global underworld activities, particularly in managing and overseeing illicit enterprises such as drug smuggling. This strategic control allowed him to establish extensive criminal networks and expand his influence. By the year 2000, Boxtel had created connections with organized crime groups worldwide. His network spanned across Italy, Belgium, Colombia, Nigeria, Serbia, Bosnia, Russia, Hungary, Spain, Turkey, China, and Japan, solidifying his status as a significant figure in international organized crime. On October 10, 2000, Sam Klepper, a Hells Angels prospect, was fatally shot in a targeted execution on the streets of Amsterdam. The fact that Boxtel chose not to retaliate significantly damaged his reputation in the underworld. During this period, Boxtel largely resided at his estate in South Africa, seemingly eager to avoid escalating gang conflicts. In response to the escalating tensions, Dutch police conducted a raid on Angel Place, where they discovered several handguns and knives. At Boxtel's bungalow behind Angel Place, authorities found a Ruger revolver and a Beretta pistol. Boxtel faced charges for illegal possession of these firearms, but he managed to have them returned after showing valid permits for both weapons. Despite Boxtel's efforts to prevent a gangland war, Amsterdam was plagued by violence between 2002 and 2004, resulting in the deaths of 9 crime bosses. On February 6, 2002, Dutch underworld figure John Miramet survived a close call after being shot in the stomach in a failed attempt on his life. Miramet had previously teamed up with Sam Klepper, forming a well-known pair called Spick and Span. After the shooting, Miramet fled to Belgium and held a press conference accusing Willem Halieder and Willem Enstra of plotting to kill him. Willem Halieder, a notorious underworld leader, became infamous for his role in the high-profile kidnapping of Freddie Heineken, the owner of the Heineken Brewing Company, back in 1983. Despite serving time in prison until 1990, Halieder maintained strong ties with the Hells Angels. On the other hand, Willem Enstra came from one of the wealthiest families in the Netherlands and had extensive investments in railroads, banking, and real estate. Miramet accused Enstra of laundering money for the underworld and referred to Halieder as the protector of their assets. Miramet said that Enstra cheated him in a €22 million money laundering deal and got Halieder to kill him when he threatened to expose Enstra. This made people more suspicious about Enstra's involvement in money laundering, which was first suspected in 1992. The press conference also made Enstra's allies, like Halieder, doubt if Enstra was honest with them too. In January 2003, Dutch authorities started an investigation called Project Acronym, working with the FBI from the United States and the RCMP from Canada. They were looking into the activities of the Dutch Hells Angels to find out about their connections and crimes. The Dutch Hells Angels were closely linked with their counterparts in Canada. The RCMP accused Boxtel of being one of the main smugglers of drugs into Canada. As part of Project Acronym, police listened in on Boxtel's phone calls and offices to gather proof. During the investigation, recorded conversations suggested that Willem Enstra had offered Boxtel €1 million to arrange for the killing of Willem Halieder. Harry Stoltij, the secretary of the Amsterdam Hells Angels chapter, posed a challenge for Boxtel because he was a friend of Halieder and opposed the idea of killing him. Stoltij held a prominent position as the head of security at the Yab Yum brothel, renowned as the most luxurious brothel in the Netherlands. He led a faction within the Hells Angels known as T Setje, the Bunch, which included members from chapters in the UK, Netherlands, and Scandinavia. Paul the Butcher de Vries, president of the elite Nomad chapter in Limburg, was another influential figure within T Setje. However, tensions arose within Boxtel's ranks as de Vries, one of his top lieutenants, repeatedly violated Hells Angels rules against drug theft. De Vries resorted to extreme measures, including the murder of Stephen Chocolate, to conceal his theft of 300 kilograms of cocaine from a Colombian cartel. This misconduct led to internal strife, with allegations that another Hells Angel, Peter Schumans, sought Boxtel's approval to eliminate de Vries before retaliation from the Colombians. On February 11, 2004, during a Hells Angels meeting in Oersbeek, de Vries, along with his bodyguard Cor Peenenberg and friend Serge Moon Wagener, were reportedly lined up and shot dead, allegedly in response to the escalating internal conflicts and criminal activities. Following the murders of Paul de Vries, Cor Peenenberg, and Serge Wagener, their bodies were buried in shallow graves near the Juliana Channel, a deliberate act to signal to the Colombians that the Hells Angels could handle internal disputes. A police bug recorded the killers reporting to Boxtel that the task he assigned was completed. The bodies were discovered on February 13, 2004. At the subsequent trial in June 2004, drug dealer Angelo Diaz testified that Boxtel had ordered the killings, tarnishing Boxtel's reputation within the Hells Angels community. Consequently, Boxtel withdrew from public life starting in 2004. On May 17, 2004, Willem Enstra was murdered. Boxtel was arrested, admitting that Enstra had hired him to discipline Willem Holleder, but denying any intent to kill him. In September 2004, Boxtel was expelled from the Hells Angels after allegedly confessing to accepting money from Enstra for Holleder's murder. Harry Stolte orchestrated Boxtel's expulsion and effectively assumed leadership of the Amsterdam chapter. On October 17, 2005, Boxtel faced charges including assault, extortion, gun running, money laundering, and drug trafficking. In 2013, Boxtel founded a new motorcycle club, the No Surrender Motorcycle Club, serving as its president. By August 2013, he reconciled with the Satudara Club. Finally, on April 28, 2022, Boxtel was acquitted of money laundering charges. And that's the incredible story of Willem van Boxtel, the motorcycle enthusiast who became one of Europe's most feared gangsters. What do you think about this story? Please leave your comments down below. And remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Thank you very much.